Hi everyone, welcome to Homeschooling channel. Today we are going to start part 2 of percentage chapter. If you haven't watched part 1, I would request you to go to the playlist and watch part 1 first, then come to the part 2. In part 1, we have covered some easy and medium difficulty level question. In part 2, we are going to solve some difficult level questions along with some previous year SAT questions. So let's go. In question number 1, it is given that if 60 is subtracted from 60% of a number is 60. So we will take this one first. 60% of a number. 60% would be 60 by 100 of a number. Let's take a number as x. So x. So in the question it is given that 60 is subtracted from 60% of a number. So we will subtract what? 60 from this is. So if 60 subtracted from 60% of a number is 60. So is equal to 60. So we can say that this is 1 to 60. If we'll take on that side, this one would be 1 and 60 by 100 into x. So x would be 120 into 100 by 60 and 6 into 2 times 20. So this one would be 200. So in the question we have to find what is the number. So the number x is 200. Now moving to the next question. The population of a town is 189,000, where 4 by 9 of them are males and rest are female. 50% of males are married. Find the percentage of married population. So males, as in the question it is given that 4 by 9 are males, so 4 by 9, and the total population is how much? So male population would be 4 by 9 into 189,000. So that would be equal to 2 times 1 times, so 21,000 into 4, that is equal to 84,000. Similarly, female population would be how much? So as we know, whole population is 189,000 and male population is 84,000. So female population would be 189,000 minus 84,000. So that would be equal to how much? 84. So 85. So 105,000. So this is your female population. This is your male population. In the question, it is said that 50% of males are married. So male population is 84,000. So married male is 50%. So 50% can be written as 1 by 2 into 84,000. So that would be 42,000. So we have to find what is the percentage of married population. So if one male will be married to one more female, so if married male is 42,000, then the married female would be also, because one man will get married to one woman, so that would be also 42,000. Hence total married population is 42,000 plus 42,000. That would be, that means because one married male and one married woman forms a couple. So that would be total 84,000. So we have to find what is the percentage of married population. So married population is 84,000, male and female, 84,000, and the whole population is 189,000. So percentage would be, so this one would be, let me find it on my calculator, 44.44%. That would be equal to 44 by 4 divided by 9%. So option B is your correct answer. So this is how you normally solve this normal method. This is your normal method, and this is normal and a lengthy method. Now I'll show you the sigma method, where you will not take any, as we have attempted one question in part 1 where we will not take these things. So sigma method. So as we know, whole population, male population is 4 out of 9. So whole population is in ratio, let's consider as 9. And from this, male are how much? 4. Okay. And out of 9 males are 4. Then females would be how much? 9 minus 4. That would be 5. So female are 5. And in the question, it is given that uh, out of these four males, how much are married? So 50% are married. That would be 2 married male. That is 2 because 50% of 4 would be 2. And uh, a couple can be formed when one man and one woman is married. So if 2 males are married, then from these 5, 2 females will be also married. So female married. So if we sum them up, so the total married population would be 2 plus 2, and the whole population is how much? Whole population is 9. So 9, so 4 by 9. If you want to convert fraction into percentage, so we will multiply by 100. So this one would be 44 by 4%, or 44 by 4 divided by 9%. So this is going to be your answer. So this is your shortcut method, and this is your simple normal method. Now moving to the next question. In a cup of milk, if 1 cup of milk is added to 3 cup mixture, that is 2 by 5, that is 2/5 of flour and 3/5 of milk. What is the percentage of 4 cup mixture of milk? So we have to find in the whole what is the percentage of mixture of milk in the whole mixture. So there are how many cups? 4 cups. Let's take this is your 1 cup, and we have a mixture of 3 cups. So we will take mixture of 3 cups. So for calculation's sake, let's take all of them. Let's take one of them as 25 ml, 25, and this one would be 25, 25, 25. So this one would be as a whole, as a mixture, it would be 75. So sum of both of them would be how much? 100. So 4 cup is 100 ml. So this is for calculation's sake. So in this, say that let's take this as 25 ml and this is as 75 ml. So first cup is only milk. So here we would have only 25% of milk. Okay. And here in 3 cups, in this 75 ml, we have 2/5 of flour and 3/5 of milk. So flour would be how much? 2 by 5, and the whole thing is 75. So if the whole thing is 75, then this would be around 30 ml of flour. And flour and milk is 3/5. So milk is 3/5 of these 3 cups, that is 75 ml. So 3/5 of 75, that would be 45 ml. So we have to find what is the percentage of 4 cup mixture, what percentage of 4 cup mixture is milk. So as we know, this 25%, 25 ml is milk, and in this 75 ml, 45 ml is milk. So 25 plus 45, this milk plus this milk, divided by what was the whole mixture, what was the whole quantity was 25 plus 75, that is 100 ml. So that would be 25 plus 50, 70 by 100. And if you want to convert fraction into percentage, so we will multiply by 100, so it would be 70%. So answer would be B, 70%. Now moving to the next question. In an opinion poll, 50 men and 40 women are there. So men are 50, women are 40. So 70% of men and 25% of women said that they prefer fiction over non-fiction. So they read fiction. 70% of men read fiction and 25% of women read. So fiction. So male that are reading fiction is 70%. So that would be 70% would be 7 by 10 into male. Total number of male is 50. So that would be 35. Males are that read fiction are 35, and female that read fiction is 25% of women, 40 women. So 25% can be written as 1 by 4 into 40. That would be 10. So total fiction fiction readers are how much? 35 plus 10. 35 male plus 10, 35 men and 10 women, that would be 45. So we have to find what percentage of number of people polled prefer to read fiction. So 45, that those who read fiction divided by the whole divided by the whole number of men and women, that would be 50 plus 40, that would be 90. So this would be 1 by 2. And if you want to convert fraction into percentage, so we'll do 100. So this one would be 50%. So answer would be how much? 50%. So fiction read percentage is equal to 50%. Now moving to the next question. So in this question, it is given that a used car lot has 4-door sedans, 2-door sedans, sports cars, van and jeep. So we have 4 types of vehicles here: 4-door sedans, 2-door sedan, sports car, van and jeep. Of these vehicles, 40% are, so 40% are 4-door sedan. Okay, then 25% is 2-door sedan, 20% is sports car, 20% is sports car, and 10% is van, and 20 of the vehicles are jeep. So if out of total, let's add them up. So 40% plus 25%, 65, 65 plus 20, 85, 85 plus 10, that is 95. So we already know about the 95% of the vehicles. So if 95 and total number of vehicles is 100%, so 100 minus 95%, that would be 5%, and the remaining 5% is Jeep. So 5% are Jeep. 5% of the total vehicles are Jeep, and 40% is four-door sedan, two-door sedan is 25%, sports car are 20%, and van are 10%. So remaining, that would be 5%, that would be Jeeps. And in the question it is given that 20 of the vehicles are Jeep. So 5% is equal to how much? 20. So from this 5% is equal to 20, then 1% would be how much? So I'll show you one more method here, crisscross method. So 5% of x is equal to 20 into 1%. So percent get cancelled. X would be 20 by 5. So 1% would be 4 vehicles. So 1% is how much? See, 5% is 20, then 1% would be 20 divided by 4. That would be, so 20 divided by 5, because 5% is 20, then 1% would be 20 divided by 5, that is 4 vehicles. So if 1% of vehicle 1% of vehicle is about 4 vehicles, then how much would be 100? So then 100% would be how much? 4 into 100, that would be 400 vehicles, the total car lot. So the total used car lot is how much? 400. Now moving to the next question. In a factory that manufacture LED light, 0.04% of all light bulb manufactured are defective. So defective is 0.04%. On average, on the average, there will be 3 defective light bulbs out of how many manufactured. So defective LED bulb is how much? 0.04%. So we can take percent, we can write percent as 0.04, and percentage would be 1 into 100, that would be divided by 100. Now how we are going to remove this decimal? So after decimal there are 2 digits, so we will divide it by 100. So this one would be 4 by 10,000, or if we further simplify it, that would be 1 by 2500. So from this we can say that defective LED bulb is, we will find one defective LED bulb out of total 2500 manufactured bulb. And in the question it is given that there will be 3 defective bulb out of how many manufactured bulb. So for one, we will find one defective bulb out of 2500 manufactured bulb, one defective bulb out of 2500 manufactured bulb. So how many so 3 defective bulb would be out of how many manufactured bulb? So if we have to, this is for one defective bulb, if we have to find for 3, so we will multiply and divide by 3. So 3 by 7500. So 3 defective bulb would be out of 7500 bulbs. So this is going to be your answer. So in 7500 bulb total manufactured bulb, there will be 3 defective bulbs. Now moving to the next question. A car start a trip with 20 gallons of, so a tank has a capacity of 20 gallon. A car traveled at a speed of at an average speed of 65 miles per hour for 3 hours. So for 1 hour, it is covering 65 miles. For 3 hours, it would be 65 into 3. That would be 5195 miles. So in 3 hours, it has covered 195 miles and consumed gas at a rate of 30 miles per gallon. So 30 miles per gallon. So what we're gonna do here is we're going to divide this is 30 miles per gallon. So the total distance is 195 miles covered in, and per gallon it gives you 30 miles. So divided 195 divided by 30, that would be 6.5. So to cover 195 miles, they have consumed, the car has consumed 6.5 gallons. So in the question, we have to find what percentage of the gas in the tank was used in 3-hour trip. So for 3-hour trips, we have covered 195 miles, and per gallon we cover 30 miles. Per gallon we cover 30 miles. So that for 195 miles, how much gallon of fuel was gas was used? That was 6.5. So we have to find what is the percentage of gas in the tank that is used for 3-hour trip. So 6.5, and the total tank filled was 20. So 6.5 by 20 into 100. That would be, let me calculate. That would be 32.5%. So that would be 32.5%. So this is going to be option B is your answer. Now moving to the next question. The table below summarizes the result of an election poll in which 4,000 voters have been participated. So total voters are 4,000. In the actual election, all 4,000 people voted. And those people who choose a candidate in the poll voted for voted for that candidate. People who were undecided voted for candidate A in the same proportion as the people who cast vote for the candidate in the poll. So this one is important here. Of the people polled, how many voted for candidate A? So we have to find what is the percentage of people who voted for candidate A. So first in the question, it is in the table it is given that total voters are 4,000. So 30% of 4,000 would be 3 by 10 into 4,000. That would be 1,200. This is, and 50%. So half of for candidates, the candidate B, they received how much? 50%. So 50% of 4,000 is 2,000 votes. And undecided are 20%. So for 4,000, 10% would be how much? 400. Then 20% would be 800. So candidate A has received 1,200 votes. Candidate B has received 2,000 votes, and undecided voters are how much? 800. So in the question, it is said that people who were undecided voted. So people who were undecided voted for candidate A. So this undecided voters voted for candidate A in the same proportion. So candidate A has received 30%. So this is undecided, and these are decided voters. These are decided voters, and these are undecided voters. So undecided voter vote for candidate A in the same proportion that so proportion is 30%, as the people who cast the vote for the candidate in the poll. So now what we're gonna do here is undecided vote casted for candidate is so it so so in the question it is said that people who were undecided voted for candidate A in the same proportion. So undecided voter, the proportion is 30%. So 30% and total number of decided votes are candidate A and B, that is 30 plus 50. So 30% plus 50%. And the total undecided vote is how much? 800. So into 800. So we can say that 3 by 8 into 800. So this would be 100. So undecided voters casted vote for candidate A is how many? 300 votes. So from these undecided voters, they voted for candidate A is 300 vote. So in the question we have to find the of the people poll how many voted for candidate A. So for decided for total votes of candidate A is total votes of candidate A is decided plus undecided votes. Decided. So decided is already we know that is 1200, and undecided voter casted vote for candidate A is 300. So total votes for candidate A is how much? 1500. So 1500 would be your answer. Now moving to the next question. So here we have a concept here is if the result of increasing by, so this is a keyword here, by and to. So let's take increase 100%. What does these keywords mean? So if they say by 100% means 100, let's take it as 200%. So that means by and to. If it is increased by 200%, that means 100% plus 200%. 200. So this would be increased by how much? 300%. And if it is increased to 200%, that means it would be simply written as 200%. So let's take let's take both the question one by one. The result of increasing A by 300%. So 300% means it was already 100% and it is increased by 300%. So 100% plus 300% is B. So 400% of A is B. So we can also say that 4A is equal to B. So A is equal to B by 4. And B, or we can say B 1 by 4. So 1 by 4 is 25% of B. So for the first A is what percent of B? A is, as we know, 1 by 4 is 25%. So A is 25% of B. So for the first one, 25% is your answer. If the result of increasing A to 300%, so A is increased to 300%. If you are using 2, then it would be increased to 200%. Then 200 will simply write 200% and by then 100 plus 200%. So here it is 2, so we'll simply write 300% is equal to B. So as we know that A is equal to, so this one would be 300% would be written as 3B. So A is equal to B into 1 by 3, and 1 by 3 is how much? 33.33%. So A is 33.33% of B, or we can also say that 33 1 by 3%. So for second part of the question, this one would be a, this, this is for the first one, this is for the second one. This one would be a correct answer. So for this one, 33 1 by 3 would be a correct answer. Now moving to the next question.
If you like the way I teach and want to buy a comprehensive course for SAT exam at a very affordable price, you can download our app from the App Store and start your self-paced preparation from pre-recorded videos provided in the course. My course also includes chapter-wise practice questions along with 20 test series at par with SAT exam. You can find all the links in the description below. Now let's move to the next question.
In question number 10, it is said that a fraction is increased by 20%, and after that numerator is increased by 240%. So if by 240% and denominator is increased to 150%, so that the resultant is 1 into 1 by 5. So what is the original fraction? So as we know, fraction has a numerator and a denominator. Let fraction be, let's say numerator is written as n and d is a denominator. So in the question, a fraction is increased. So let's take this fraction, numerator and denominator. It is increased by 20%. So that would be 100 plus 20. If we use by, then plus that much percent. So that this would be how much? 120%. Or we can write it as, if we remove that percentage, then it would be 120 divided by 100. And what it say after that? After that, numerator is increased. So numerator is increased by 240%. So by is there, so it would be 100 plus 240. That would be 340%. So this one would be 340%, and denominator is increased to 2 is there to 150%. So we will simply write 150%. If by is there, we have to add 100 plus that percent. If by is there, we have to write 100 plus that percent by which it has been increased or decreased. So it is 150%. So that resultant is how much? 1 is to 1 by 5. So as we can say, we can cancel these two percentage, a numerator and denominator, into what else we can do? We can cancel these two things, this one and this one, and this will go 5 times, this will go 6 times. So we can say 6 by 5 into 34 divided by 15. And if we 1 by 5 would be 5 plus 1, that would be 6 by 5. So as we can see, 6 by 5 here and 6 by 5, so we can cancel both of them. So n numerator by denominator would be, and we will take 30 by 34 by 15 on that side, so 15 will come on, will be on the will come on the numerator, and 34 will be your denominator. Hence your fraction and numerator by denominator is equal to 15 by 34. We're not using the normal method, we are using the sigma approach, the shortcut method, to save your time. If you go with the conventional method, it will take a lot of time. So your answer would be option B, 15 divided by 34. Now moving to the next question. Rachel's expenditure and saving are in ratio 5 is to 3. If her income is increased by 12% and her expenditure is increased by 15%, then how much percentage her saving increases? So before we start this question, there is a formula that income is equal to expenditure plus savings. So you have to remember this formula. In the question, it is given that expenditure and savings are in ratio 5 is to 3. So let's take expenditure 5. So 5, let's take it as 500 for calculation's sake, and saving as 300 because they are in ratio 5 is to 3. So what is going to be the total income? We have to add both of them. So it would be 800. So your income would be 800. In the question, it is said that if her income is increased by, excuse me, if her income is increased by 12%, so 12% increase, 12% increase, so that would be 112% into 800. So we can say that 1.12 into 800. So let me calculate what it is going to be. 1.12. So this is going to be 896. 896. Now in the question, income is increased by 12% and expenditure is increased by how much? Expenditure is increased by 15%. So 15% increase. So that would be how much? 100 plus 15, that would be 115 percentage. And we can write 115 percentage as 1.15 into 500. So that is going to be how much? Expenditure 575. So 896 is your income and expenditure is 575. So if we have to, so what, so we have to find what is, how much percentage the saving increases. So if we have to find saving, so from this formula we can say that saving is equal to income minus expenditure. So that would be 896 minus 575. That would be 1, 2, 3. So 321. So now what we have to find? We have to find the percentage of increase or percentage increase of saving. So percentage increase of saving is equal to the difference between both of them, that is 21. 320 minus 300, that would be 21, divided by the initial amount, that is 300. And this is a fraction, we have to convert into percentage, so multiplied by 100. So this one would be, and 3 will go 7 times, so 7%. So your answer would be 7%. In the option, you can see it is 6%, 8%, 12%, but your answer is 7%. So you have to take option D because your answer is 7%. Now moving to the next question. amount is divided among A, B, C, and share of B is 20% more than C. So let's take B and C. So B is 20% more than C. If C is 100, and so B would be 20% more, that would be 120. So if we uh, factorize it, so it will be 5 times and 6 times. So B and C are in ratio. If factorize it, then 20 into 5 times and 20 into 6 times. So B and C are in ratio 6:5. Excuse me. And after that, while share of B is 16.66% more than A. So as we have read that percentage can be converted into fractions, 16.66% is how much? 1 by 6. So in this question, it is said that B and A, that B is 16.66 or 1/6 more than of A. So let's take, if this A is 6 and B is 1/6 more than A. So that would be how much? 6 plus 1, that would be 7. I hope you're getting this concept. See, we can take any ratio here. So for calculation's sake, 16.66% is given. So as we know, the fraction of 16.66% is 1 by 6. So if 6 is increased by 1 by 6, then it is what? 7. So we have these 4 values of, from this first statement, B and C are in ratio 6:5. And from this statement, second statement, A and B are in ratio 7:6. So we can see that B is common in both the statement. So we would try to equate B in both the statement. So if we want to equate both the B's, then what we're going to do here is we're going to multiply this by 6. Similarly, this one will be also multiplied by 6, and this one would be multiplied by 7, and this one would be also multiplied by 7. So what is going to be, so 6 into 7 times, that would be 42, and 5 into 7 times, that would be 35. Similarly, 7 into 6, 42, and A would be, so we have multiplied, because whatever we are going to multiply, we are going to multiply both of them by the same number. Similarly, whatever we are going to multiply one number, we are going to, this B here, we are going to multiply with the same number, both A and B. So here what we have done here is we have equated B in both the sentences, or both the ratios we have equated. So now what we can write from here is ratio of A is to B is to C is how much? So A is 36, as we have equated B in both the equations. So it would be both the statements. So it would be 42, and C is how much? 35. So now A, B, C. I have also covered this topic in ratio and proportion chapter. So if you're having some confusion here, you can go and watch ratio and proportions chapter. You there I have explained how I'm equating these two equations in a very broad manner. So now the ratio of A is to B is to C is 36, 42, 35. So in the question it is given, find the ratio of difference between B and C. So difference between B and C would be, B minus C would be 42 minus 35. So that would be 42 minus 35, 7. So difference in the ratio would be 7. So option B would be a correct answer. 7 would be a correct answer. Now moving to the next question. In question number 13, a man deposit 10% of his monthly salary in a bank. He saved 30% of the remaining salary. The ratio of transport and education is 3 is to 4 of the remaining salary after saving. If his expenses on transport is 2700, so we have to find annual salary. And here what we had is given monthly salary. So let's take that monthly salary is equal to X. So what is going to be your annual salary? Annual salary will be how much? So we have 12 months, so 12x. Uh, so in the first line says that a man deposit 10% of the monthly salary in the bank. So bank deposit would be how much? Bank deposit would be 10% of X. And after depositing 10%, how much of his salary is left? So after depositing 10%, so how much would be left? 90% would be left. So, uh, so after this remaining, so 90% of X is left after depositing. So next statement says that he saves. So his savings is 30% of the remaining. So 30% of 90%. So 30% of 90% of X. So we can say that it is 27% of X. If we will solve this, it will come 27% of X. So his savings, his bank deposit is 10%. His saving is 30% of the remaining. So that the remaining is 90%. So 30% of 90% of X, that is 27%. And this one is, so what would be remaining now after these two? So remaining would be how much? Remaining would be how much? 100 minus 10 plus 27. That would be 100 minus 37. So after these two, bank deposit and savings, 63% of X is remaining. I think you're getting what I'm trying to say. So after bank deposit, 90% is left, 10%, 90% is left. And after both bank deposit and savings, that would be 100 minus 10 plus 27, that would be 100 minus 37. So 63% of X is left. So now coming to the next statement, the ratio of transport and education is in, so transport and education is in ratio 3 is to 4 of the remaining salary after savings. So what is remained after remaining salary after saving? That is 63% of X. So what is going to be the transport ratio? So transport would be 3 divided by sum of both. That would be 3 plus 4. So that would be 3 by 7. In the question, it is given that if expense of transport, so transport is 3 by 7 because of what? Remaining salary of the saving, that is 63% of X to 63% of X is how much? The expense of transport is $2,700. So from this will go 9 times. And X would be 2,700 into 100 divided by 9 into 3. So 9 into 3 is 27. So it will go 27. So 100 into 100. So that would be how much? $10,000. So X is your monthly salary, $10,000. If you do not read the question properly, many of you will tick this one, option A, but this one is not option A. But here in the question it is said what is the annual salary. So annual salary is how much? Annual salary is 12x. Annual salary is 12x. So that would be 12 into 10,000. That would be 120,000. So this is your answer. So hence your option B, $120,000 would be your answer. Now moving to the next question. Here we are also going to use the sigma approach or the shortcut method. We are not going to solve each one of them one by one. So the question says that in an election Trump and Biden participated. 20% didn't vote. Let's take total votes are how much? 100%. So 20% didn't vote, so minus 20%. So voters voted would be how much? 100 minus 20%, that would be 80%. Didn't vote. And 12.5% of the vote. So 12.5% would be how much? Of the votes declared invalid. So valid vote would be how much? 80 minus 12.5%. 12.5% is can be also written as how much? Minus 1 by 8. So if we reduce valid votes 1 by 8 from 80%, that would be how much? 70%. Or you can also find it by uh, if you reduce minus 12%, that would be 88% of 80. So that would be 7 12 and a half, so 12.5. So 87.5% of 80 is how much? 70. So the valid votes now here is 70% because 12.5% of votes are invalid. So 12.5 is one that is 1 by 8, as we have read in the basics that where we have to convert percentage into fraction. So 12.5% is equivalent to 1 by 8. So if we reduce 1/8 of 80%, that would be equal to 70%. Or you can use this one 87 87 87 and a half, because we are reducing 12.5% from 100%. So that would be 100 minus 12.5, that would be 87.5 of 80. So that would be 70%. Now after that, question says that Trump gets 60% of valid vote. So 70 are the valid vote. So Trump get 60% of the valid vote. So 60% of 70 is how much? Let me calculate. 60% of 70 is how much? So 0.6 of 70, 0.6 into 7, that would be 42. And rest would be given to the Biden. So Biden will get how much? 40% of 70. So that would be how much? Or we can 40, so 0.4 into 70, that would be 28. So Trump and Biden votes are in ratio 42 and 28. In the question it is said that Trump gets 60% of the valid votes and won by 5,600 votes. So the difference between Trump and Biden is 5,600 votes. So what we can write here is 42x minus, because these are in ratio, so 42x minus 28x is 5,600. 42, sorry, 42%. This one would be 42. 42% and minus 28% of X, because it has Trump has won by 5,600 votes. So we have to find the difference between Trump and Biden would be equal to 5,600. So this one would be how much? uh, 42 minus 28, that would be 14% of X is equal to 5,600. So X would be your total votes, hence X would be 5,600, and 14% can be written as 0.14. So if we take 14% on that side, so this is going to be how much? 5,600 divided by 0.14. 5,600 divided by 0.14, that would be 40,000. Hence the total number of votes would be how much? So the total number of voters in the voting list is how much? 40,000. So this is going to be answer 40,000. Now moving to the next question here. A business paid $300 to rent a piece of office equipment for 1 year. So for 1 year, it is $300. Rent is 300, and the rent was increased by 10% each year. Okay, so 10% each year, it is increased. How much how much companies pay for the first 3 years of the rent for the equipment? So first year, the rent is how much? $300. Okay. Second year, it is increased by 10%. So 100 plus 10, that would be 110%. And last year the rent was how much? 300. So 300. So 1 point. So we can say that it is 1.1. So 1.1 would be into 3 would be how much? 330 into 300 would be 330. Now third year rent is also increased from previous year by 10%. So 110%. And what was the rent of the previous year? That is 330. We'll not take 300. For second year, we will take 300. For third year, we will take second year. For fourth year, whatever the value of third year would be, so 110% of that. So it would be 1.1. So this is going to be how much? 1.1 into 3, 363. So in the question, it is said that how much they have to pay for the first three. So we will add all three of them. So 9, 3, 9. So $993. So this is going to be an answer. $993. So this is the end of part 2. Do not forget to watch part 3. I'm going to cover data analysis or data interpretation question related to percentage. Part 3 is also very important, so do watch part 3 after this video. Thank you.